been a few days now since the Lord of Hatred expansion dropped for Diablo IV. Wanted to make a video discussing the launch, sharing my experience, along with some updated thoughts now that I've had more time to play. Also, kind of just wanted to get the general temperature of things, as in, how are people feeling about Diablo IV now that the expansion has arrived, it's in everybody's hands? What are we all thinking? I will say for me, this is easily, I think, the best the game's ever been, especially when compared to the launch version of D4. In terms of the amount of content, the variety of things to do at endgame, and just the whole process of gearing and powering up a character, overall, like big picture, I am way more engaged this time around than I was at the game's release or with the last expansion. Seems people are really enjoying this X-Pack so far. I am overall more keen on this one than I was in the last one. The last expansion, after one playthrough, I didn't have that much motivation to continue, but this is my second time. I only got to see the beginning of endgames, but I played pre-release, and I am still very keen to continue playing. But I only got like touch the cusp of the end game, so this will be my first time in over a year actually genuinely playing through the end game and putting a build together and pushing up difficulty and whatnot. Many people are saying it's just the same old D4 and have already quit. Well, I mean, it's never not going to be D4. It's always going to continue to be D4. If you just don't like the game, I don't think any D4 expansion is going to make you like the game. But really the focus was them on streamlining, because there's already a shit ton of content here. There's the Pit, Hell Tides, Infernal Hordes, Nightmare Dungeons, Uber bosses, world bosses, whispers. They have a variety of things. I think them presenting them in a different manner, giving you a new way to engage with them via the new talent tree, which lets you kind of fine tune and focus certain rewards and adjust certain activities, add modifiers. The things like spawning endgame bosses in other content, I think is cool. So my launch experience thus far has looked like this. I ended up jumping in on Tuesday morning and stuck with my plan to play the Paladin. Everyone else on the planet seems to have gone with the Warlock, but man, I just cannot help myself. I love the design of the Pally. Also helps that it feels great to play and seems fairly strong as well. How you liking Paladin? It is fucking sick. Can I say that on Twitch? The class is amazing, dude. I love it. I love it thematically. I like the hammer spinny playstyle right now. But just going around spinning hammers like it's 1999. We're spinning hammers like it's 1999. Well, one of the cool things, this was the case in the past. I don't know how it's holding up right now. The Pally has been very strong with a variety of builds. They're still the utmost pinnacle build. And I think in the last season, that was the shield throw Paladin. But it seems like there's a lot of different builds that can totally work for a lot of the end game, you know? Oh, okay, ready? I want you guys to hear this shit. Listen closely to the sound effect. It sounds like I'm a fighter jet. It's just so good. So on the first day, I leveled up through the campaign. I think this took around 5 or 6 hours total. Now, this was my second time through, so I wasn't rewatching all the cutscenes. However, I did opt for playing on a non-optimal difficulty, first playing on expert and then eventually bumping it up to penitent. This is not the most efficient way to level, but I find it just far more fun, so it's what I go with. I am 41 this year. I oscillate between just playing games for fun and then taking them seriously or playing with a meta mentality. But I definitely, more and more, I play games with the main goal of being just trying to enjoy it. And one thing I'm very aware of nowadays, which I didn't really consider or care about in the past, is trying to not optimize the fun out of the game. So here's a perfect example. Right now, I'm playing through the campaign on Penitent. If you go to any guide on YouTube that's giving you tips for leveling, every one of them will tell you to not level on Penitent. Specifically, what they'll tell you to do is level on the hardest difficulty where you're still one-shotting most things. That's what they're going to tell you. They're going to say start on normal or hell and don't go up any higher so that it takes too long to kill stuff. The reason that's suggested is because that is the most efficient way to level XP per hour. But that is an example of, at least for me, and that's not the case for everybody, but for me, that is kind of optimizing the fun out of it. Like, I prefer to just play on the hardest difficulty where I myself am not getting one shot the whole time. time. So that's a great example. In the past, I would have really been obsessed with trying to maximize my XP per hour. Now I'm more obsessed with fun per hour. But there's a whole side of it where for a lot of people will say that they have the most fun maximizing XP per hour. And I had that same argument in the past as well. It's like, this is what I enjoy. And to a degree, I am still that way. Like, I still have that mentality. But I've played enough of these games and gone through enough of these loot treadmills that I realize inevitably I'm going to get to the point where I'm just bored of doing the same power spike and drop and power spike and drop. And I'm not trying to hurry up to get to that point. I'm not trying to speed run my fun out of the game. And I will say one nice benefit of playing on these harder difficulties is that I actually get to engage with the mechanics and the different phases of a boss fight rather than just having them be deleted, which is fun when I'm not dying. It's fun when I'm not dying. Some of these boss setups in this expansion are crazy. Like this stuff with the guys getting smashed to smithereens, split down the middle. Ugh. All right, we're gonna toss these hammers out. We're gonna fear it. I think I can actually queue out of that with my defensive aura there. Dude, he hits hard. Okay, we got a phase, so that means more potions on the ground for us. Why is he harder now? Okay, we should have some more potions soon. I'm almost dead though. More potions just spawned, right? Yep. Only one? Oh my god, dude. I think I'm gonna kite him. This is not going well. This is going very not well. I'm not sure what I'm dying to either. Oh, I did get another potion. Oh, there's a cooldown that you just get potions separate from the pickup ones. Really? Is that new?
Not much time left now.
That was that was sketch, dude. All right, cool. Close call. Yeah, a bit, dude. We did have some lingering server issues on Tuesday during the day. Now, I heard this was much worse Monday evening when the expansion first dropped. But for me, throughout the day on Tuesday, I had a few instances of the server just kind of becoming unresponsive. Let's get back to killing monsters. Brother, I can't. The server's borked. Look, I'm casting Blessed Hammer and nothing's happening. The boss is running. There's something over here he really wants. Maybe he left a snack in the coffin? It very well could be the case that there's a snack in the coffin and he's got a hankering, but he stubbed his toe, so he's sitting there like, son of a I can't need that. I think the servers are borked again. Oh my god, dude. Now, come Wednesday morning, I was finished with the campaign and it was time to finally jump into endgame, and that has pretty much just been me doing the war plans thing, you know, picking from the assortment of activities, be it the nightmare dungeons, doing pit, hell tides, layer bosses, undercity, or whispers. Usually whispers just kind of happen as you do the other things though. Now, for the most part, I have found myself prioritizing the bosses, the pit, and nightmare dungeons. It's just the things that I like doing the most, but I will do whatever, and frankly, that's kind of part of the appeal of the war plan system, mixing up your activities rather than spamming the same thing over and over and over again. It was funny, I saw some people complaining about the fact that the war plans have you do a variety of activities instead of just spamming the same one over and over again. And I'm just thinking, spamming the same activity over and over again is what you are always doing and what you can still continue to do. I think the whole point of war plans is to incentivize doing a variety of different activities. You can still pick and choose things, but the point is the variety. If you just want to do the same thing nonstop over and over again, you have always been able to do that, and you can still do that. You can still do the same thing nonstop over and over again. People want choice, right? Especially in games like this. They want the choice to do the thing that they want to do. The choice is there. It's still there. It's always been there. The choice has always been what you've been able to do. You can run pit nonstop for 30 hours. You've always been able to do that. You can still do that if you want. But I think it's a whole incentive structure where people want to both do what they want, but also feel like they're getting the most efficient use of their time, whether that's for XP per hour, loot drops per hour, resources per hour, whatever. And there's this kind of back and forth that a lot of people have. But I think presenting this variety and then incentivizing this variety by giving rewards on the war plan. So even though you might want to do the pit, but the nightmare dungeon has the bonus resource, you're more incentivized to do that. And I feel like because there's that incentive pushing you towards certain things, then they're missing out on something by doing the thing that they actually want instead. But I just don't, I really honestly feel this is another one of those circumstances of perception is everything. It's that you can still do whatever you want, but they are trying to incentivize doing a variety of things. And personally, I prefer that. I really do. I've kept chugging along, also playing most of the day Thursday and into today Friday, slowly picking up the pieces needed for my build. I am running the Hammerden/Arbiter playstyle, kind of sprinting through the map with hammers constantly spinning around me, the Arbiter form zapping things with my wings, flying up into the sky all the time. Big focus on cooldown reduction, so I can just doing this stuff non-stop, and it's a total blast. And at this point, after having worked on my gear, getting more pieces, I got the 5-piece talisman set bonus that further enhances my Arbiter form along with all of the skills associated with it that I'm using in my build. This thing has really started to come online and it's been a blast to play. As of this recording, I'm running Torment 9/10 content and it's been pretty smooth. Somehow yet after all of this time of playing the game pre-release for about 30 hours and now playing it post-release every single day for 10 hours a day since this thing came out, I still haven't seen the new endless mode activity that they added with this. I don't even, it's like Echoing Hordes or Nightmare or something, whatever. The new mode that they added, the new like kind of test your build, go as far as you can. Still haven't tried it, no idea. I'll figure out at some point. So while playing for the past few days, I have had some updated thoughts and a few things that I wanted to share. For one, I really do like their updated skill tree. It feels like every node has a meaningful impact, at least prior to the point where you're dumping 14 extra points to max out your skill. But all of those individual nodes that come after, you know, you pick your skill and then you got 2 points, 2 points, and 3 points. You're picking 3 total from those 7. Each one of those feels like an actual meaningful decision that mixes up the skill and you can really change things up. And I really like it. Skill tree and build diversity was lacking. Have you seen any improvements to that? So the new skill tree is nice because it's getting rid of all of the passive boring stuff and it's making it so that every point actually impacts the skills that you're using. So all of those little passive nodes that used to exist around each of these nodes with little small percentage increases to offenses and defensives, those have been replaced. And now every single skill has 3 choice points where you pick, first you pick from one of 2 options that will change up the skill, then another one of 2 options, and then you pick from one of 3 options. And this third and final tier has some drastic implications where it almost is like a unique power, like a legendary power, where it can quite drastically change how the skill functions. And so that's the case for all skills. So now so you got your basic skills, your core skills, and then for the paladin, it's aura, valor, justice, and then the ultimate at the end. And they also there used to be passives at the end of the skill trees for the classes, and those were replaced now as well. So yeah, the skill tree is definitely more, it feels, I would get a point and it would change up my skill enough that it felt like I got a piece of unique gear. So that's definitely the case now with how they've presented it, which is a nice change. Because yeah, those little passive increases aren't as exciting. Just put all that stuff in gear or whatever. I'm also really enjoying this endgame activity tree that's tied into the war plans. There's some pretty neat variety here, mixing up the things that you can do, cross-pollinating different endgame activities by getting rewards from one thing while doing another thing, getting layer bosses to spawn in other types of content. All that stuff's really neat. Oh, we're gonna get some upgrades too. Wait a second, let's put the upgrades on our tree. After you complete Nightmare Dungeon, War's bounty chest spawns, and I could get the next one. While in the Nightmare Dungeon, slaying enemy while empowered with a shrine traps their soul with you. Gain an additional buff when claiming a shrine. I don't really care about the shrine things though. I think I'm actually gonna pull out of this tree and go down into another one. So bosses can respawn. Bosses have +1 monster power and chance to drop escalation sigil. Treasure goblins have a chance to, I haven't even seen any treasure goblins. Let's go down this one. Extra boss spawn and then +1 power. Okay, layer bosses. This is the fun tree. Layer bosses have +1 monster power. Layer bosses have a higher chance of dropping specific runes. After opening a tortured gift in Helltide, there's a chance for Grigor's knights to ambush you. When killed in a Helltide, they may drop unique items. Probably +1 monster power. I don't freaking know which to pick. About halfway through the day on Wednesday, I actually decided to give Controller a shot, and I was pleasantly surprised. I ended up really enjoying it overall, though I do have one major complaint with it, and that was the lack of ground targeting with movement skills. Not being able to pick the precise landing location while doing my jump in the air ability was kind of a pain in the ass, and it actually got me killed on a few occasions as I would end up jumping too far away from something or jumping into a ground effect that I didn't mean to, because when you use these abilities, you can't actually target the landing location as you can can when you're using your mouse pointer. So just this morning, I put the controller down and went back to the mouse and keyboard, but this time deciding to try WASD. And this feels like a nice happy medium. I'm not destroying my pointer finger by clicking the left mouse button to do absolutely everything in the game, but I'm getting that movement with WASD and still getting that precise aiming with certain abilities like my jump skill. And I think this is nice. I do like it. The character movement isn't as responsive as I would like. Sometimes while doing the WASD thing, I would feel as if my character wasn't responding, like they wouldn't be moving even though I was pushing one of those 4 cardinal directions and the character wasn't going in them. So I don't know, it doesn't feel as smooth as I think the WASD does in Path of Exile 2, and the character movement doesn't feel as smooth in D4's WASD as it does while using the controller, but it's like a mix between just doing the mouse focused movement and the controller without the precision. I'm liking this WASD movement with the mouse as well. It seems pretty good. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. And just big picture overall, my thoughts on D4 now after again spending some more time with it. I think it's much improved for sure. Like I'm really enjoying it. The fact does remain that this is the more approachable of the ARPGs out there. D4 is like the casual ARPG in a lot of ways, the big mainstream casual game. In a lot of ways, the discussion around say D4 versus PoE2 reminds me back when WoW first came out, where all the hardcore MMO players were big into EverQuest or, you know, Dark Age of Camelot or whatever, and WoW was for the casual babies, the mainstream audience. I don't know. It feels reminiscent of those discussions back in the day. I kind of straddle a line. Like I appreciate a more casual ARPG, but I also really like what PoE2 delivers. And at least personally, I will say, while I really enjoy Diablo IV, I would say every big update when I come back to the game, it's a shorter timetable, shorter lifespan in terms of the total number of hours that I feel like I get out of those updates when directly compared to PoE2. How do you like D4 compared to PoE2? I like D4. I would say if I had to just pick one, PoE2 is a game that I like more, but since I don't just have to pick one and I can play more than one, I enjoy playing PoE2 as well. I do play a lot of games though, and I know not everybody does that. I like D4 for 2 days. I like PoE2 for 2 months. For me, it's probably, I like D4 for 50 to 70 hours with a big update. I like PoE2 for 100 to 150 hours with a new update. And speaking of those comparisons, I would be remiss to not talk about the fact that this is a paid expansion. With all of the microtransactions that are already in Diablo 4 between the season pass and everything in their cosmetic cash shop, what have you, it really feels like they might just be better served of not charging for expansions. Just make them big updates that are added to the core game and focus all your monetization on the other stuff that's already in here. Especially for this particular game, I think it's going to be really hard for them to shake the direct Path of Exile 2 comparison that happens every time another Diablo 4 paid expansion drops. You get a lot of people going, why would I pay for this D4 expansion, which for a lot of people, myself included, is going to give me less playtime with this big update compared to the one out there that in many ways is better and gives more playtime, and their updates are free. I wonder if they're ever going to make that switch. I don't know if it's going to happen, but maybe something to consider. I don't know. Speaking of paid cosmetics, let's talk about the freaking, there's a couple of Reddit threads that I wanted to talk about. And one of them, the first one that popped up was this one that says, have we become Lineage or MU Online? Look at this outfit. I don't know, dude. I mean, it looks cool, I guess, but yeah, it's kind of a bit over the top and crazy. So I understand the comparison. What is up with all the shiny stuff, for sure. On the love side of things, though, we have gotten people really happy with some of the designs for the Warlock, particularly this one Reddit thread pointing out the different Warlock helms that are available. Yeah, these are unhinged. It's pretty cool. It's crazy. It's a little wacky, but they're dope as well at the same time. I've seen people complaining about the fact that whenever you run a pit, they automatically spawn a portal right when you finish killing the boss at the very end. The problem is, though, people will be maybe cleaning up mobs or something and accidentally click on this portal, leaving the pit, and then completely missing out on their drops as well as the glyph upgrades that they could get. You know, I don't exactly know why Blizzard decided to spawn a pit spawn a portal when you finish the pit, because we have a portal. We've always had a portal. We use the portal all the time. I don't know why they think at the end of a pit all of a sudden we're gonna forget to use the portal. I don't really quite get it, but yeah, they can keep the portal if they want, so long as they give you the return portal as if you did a personal portal, you know? So if people click out, they don't get completely screwed out of all of their gear and miss all of the glyph upgrades that they could have gotten. Also saw a couple of PSAs that I think were really good. Number one was the fact that when you get to the point where you're getting the set items for your talismans, the ones that have the 5-piece set bonuses, if you get duplicates of one of the particular 5 pieces of that set, you can re-roll those at the Haradra Cube, and those will roll into other pieces of the set. So say you have 4 pieces of a set, but you're missing that 5th piece for the 5-piece bonus, and then you happen to drop a duplicate of one of the 4 pieces you already have, one of the 2 is worse, just keep re-rolling that at the cube, and you will eventually get that 5th piece that you're missing. So that's a wonderful tip. If you get any duplicates of sets that you're going for, re-roll them at Haradra Cube and get the additional pieces that you're missing. Also, please, for the love of God, keep an eye out for any ancestral items that are white or blue, or keep an eye out for blues because they can drop with greater affixes. And now, thanks to the Haradra Cube, with us being able to add and remove affixes, ancestral items, and even blues can be really good. Even whites can be especially good, because if you get a white ancestral item, you can turn that into a unique at the cube as well. So don't be ignoring white and blue gear, especially ones that are ancestral or that have greater affixes. All right, so yeah, it's been a few days, and thus far, if I were to kind of put a pin on the whole thing, my thoughts, I think the game is in a really good spot. I do. Is it gonna supersede Path of Exile 2 for people who are a huge fan of that game? No, I don't think so. But it's another good ARPG. It is. It is another one to add to the rotation as far as I'm concerned. I've kind of always felt that way about Diablo 4. If I'm ranking the ARPGs out there, if I were to say, what are my top 5 ARPGs that I'm likely to be spending time playing in this year, in 2026? Number 1 is Path of Exile 2. Spots 2 and 3, you're going to probably go to D4 and Last Epoch. And then spot 4, I guess, is Titan Quest 2. And that's how I feel. Like, these are the 4 or so games that I'm gonna, I guess spot 5 will go to Diablo 2, just because it probably deserves it, right? I haven't played in like 20 years, but boy, it was one of my favorite games back in the day. Those are the 4 ARPGs that I'm likely to be revisiting with major updates. I haven't been as into Diablo 4 for their seasons, but last expansion, it was all right. This expansion, I think, is quite a bit better. I'm liking it better. I'm more engaged. I expect I'm going to be getting more time out of it. In fact, I think I already have gotten more time out of this expansion than I did compared to the last one. Maybe a lot of that is due to just how damn fun the Paladin is and how cool it is thematically. I don't know. But anyways, this has been the most fun I've had with the game, like full stop, this latest update. So take that for what it is. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the future. There's still a whole ass other continent that is visible, the perimeter of which is visible on our world map. And I hope the game keeps getting updates and we keep seeing more of that. Maybe in the future they won't charge for expansions, and that'll help them with the perception of the value for the cost compared to their biggest competition, which is Path of Exile 2. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. Have you been enjoying Diablo 4? Have you not been? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this expansion, what you like, what you don't. Let me know below. That's all, though. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.